Hi, welcome. I'm Ashley Leonard, Deputy Director here at the To and Through Project, and I am excited to have everyone here to join us for our annual MGN Celebration of Learning today. Thank you all so much for being here. So we here at To and Through really focus on how to use data for impact to drive inquiry and impact. When we think about data, we think both about the quantitative data that you traditionally look at, but we also think really deeply about the qualitative data, the student experiences, the stories of young people, and how do we use that data together to understand um, the journeys of CPS students. We also think about how do we work alongside education stakeholders like the brilliant educators you're going to meet today and other folks across the ecosystem to make meaning of that data so that they can shift their practice or what they're doing in their daily work to better support young people. And the ultimate goal is that by doing this in partnership with each of you, we are realizing more equitable outcomes for young people in CPS from the middle grades all the way through college completion. So, what you'll see today is all of these things really coming together through the amazing work of the educators across our third cohort and how they're using that data and inquiry to really impact these students in their individual buildings. And also, you'll hear a little bit at the end of our session today about how we're beginning to really translate that impact into how we support students across CPS. So, our objectives for today, we're going to highlight the work of our student fellows who also partner with the educators in each of our schools on this MGN journey. Our cohort 3 educators and leaders are going to share their reflections from this past school year and what they've been learning and the impact it's had on them and their schools. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about how the middle grade strategy at CPS is kind of really starting to develop and be codified in partnership with the district and some of the things we've been learning along the way. So here is our agenda for the day. I'm going to finish out the welcome and overview, and then I'm going to pass it over to my wonderful colleague, Naomi, who has did a beautiful job preparing everything for today. She'll talk through some program updates, our student fellowship, reflection and impact, and then she'll prep us for seeing the presentations from our cohort 3 schools. And then I'll come back at the end to close us out talking a little bit about system impact and next steps. This is the wonderful, small but mighty MGN team. We are part of the broader To and Through team and really excited to be leading this work today. I want to share a special shout out to Miriam Cohen, who is our newest manager of coaching and improvement and who joined the To and Through MGN team back in January. She has jumped right into this work, and we're excited to have her help our current and future cohorts, including our newest, cohort 4, along their journey. And I've already mentioned Naomi, who you'll be hearing from again momentarily. So, a quick recap, although most folks here, I think, know a lot about MGN, you are supporters, you are friends, you are believers in the power of the middle grades and what that can do to set young people up for success in high school and college. And what we're really focused on is how do we create those equitable environments in the middle grades where students can really thrive that set them up for all of the things that they look for in their futures. We really strive to improve elementary on track rates, but we do that by focusing on an increase in students' sense of belonging. And I think you're going to see that will really come through in the presentations that schools have prepared to share with you today. They have really dedicated themselves to figuring out how do they ensure young people are having great daily experiences in their classrooms and across their buildings so that they know school is a place for them where they can be successful and they can see how that connects to all of the future goals they have for themselves. And again, this work is really done using multiple forms of data and testing change ideas in small ways that lead to a big impact over time so that we're really helping our students succeed. All right. So that's a quick overview of the day, a little bit about MGN, and I am thrilled to pass it on to my beautiful and amazing colleague, Naomi, to lead us through the rest of the day with her brilliant energy that she always brings to spaces. So, Naomi, I will pass it over to you to take it away.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate it. There are so many great things happening with MGN. We have really built such an amazing community that you're going to be able to learn about today. We're so excited for that, about how we're continuing to expand and grow. Slide. Thank you so much. So a huge congratulations. Oh, this is so exciting. I'm so pumped for this. Middle grades teacher Cherise Collins from Cohort 2 School, South Shore Fine Arts, will be participating in the inaugural UTEP Summer Institute. It was modeled after the Yale Initiative. It pairs U Chicago faculty with K-12 teachers to co-create culturally relevant curriculum. We're so excited to see what she creates for her middle grade students and how this experience will inspire and impact her classroom learning. Congratulations, Miss Collins. I'm so excited. Yes, and we officially kicked off cohort 4 back in February, and we're thrilled to begin this partnership journey together. 8 new schools across the city of Chicago are now starting their MGN journey. We go all the way as north as Rogers Park and all the way as south as Jeffrey Manor. It is just like we are just really taking over the city of Chicago, y'all. It is so beautiful to see. We can't wait to see the collaboration and the impact that will grow from it. So, what we want to do really quickly is in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week just finishing, we want to take a look at what our learning engagement team has asked these incredible educators.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Colon. I teach at Belmont Cragen Elementary School. I have been teaching for 13 years. This will be my 8th year at Belmont Cragen.
My name is Bailey Keppel. I am a special education teacher currently at Jose de Diego, and I have been teaching for 6 years.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Sykes. I teach at Parker Community Academy. I've been in the field for 16 years, and I've been with Parker for 4 years. Yes, and I teach 7th grade ELA and social science.
I would say just be yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Students, sometimes you just need to laugh with the students and have fun with them. Don't feel so pressured to do everything perfectly. And you're going to learn and grow over time, and it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to give yourself grace. You just have to know that you're not going to know it all. And the moment that you say, I'm going to give myself a break, you're gonna move mountains. So
yeah, I've learned just this year that we're like gardeners that may never see the crop grow. So really, I'm just planting seeds. I may never see the outcome, but I just have to trust that that seed will grow.
Come through cohort 4. Like, this is just so beautiful to see. What's so encouraging to hear from the educators in this video is that so much of the work that we do comes down to approaching this with a growth mindset and a willingness to try. That is a large part of the work, and they really are well on their way. Let's look at this next video.
Ruth Mulberger. I'm at Belmont Cragen School.
My name is Jennifer Sykes. I teach at Parker Community Academy.
My name is John Meyer. I'm from Mariano Azuela School.
Hi, my name is Mr. Mazzi. I am a middle school math teacher at Azuela Elementary.
How do you help students feel a sense of belonging and connectedness to school?
Like for them to give their input. If they have ideas, they share it. Can we do more projects in the classroom? And I'll say yes, but we got to build that foundation first. And when it's time for the project, they're like, oh, she listened to me, like we're going to get to do a cool project. So giving them a voice in the classroom.
You know, I always tell students that education, what's in your brain, what's in your heart, no man can take away from you. So you need to do right and think right. Education, no one can take away. This is your ticket to ride, so to speak. This is your ticket to your hopes and dreams. So learn more and become more.
It's establishing that almost from the very beginning, letting them know that, you're both a fair teacher, but you're still going to be firm. And a lot of times there's reasons why they're doing what they're doing. You don't know what they're going through. There may be challenges at home that they're facing. There may be academic challenges. And we just have to be really open-minded with our students.
By letting them use their student voice and come to me with anything and just being there as someone who can help them in any way, shape, or form. Whatever they need, I try my best to help them.
Thank you so much. Just gives me all the chills and all the feels. So beautiful. And really thinking about, student sense of belonging, and you're going to see a lot of that today with our cohort 3 schools. Something that we wanted to share, and I know something that you'll see today, is the impact of the partnership on educator mindset and student experience. Our focus today, though, is what that impact looks like in practice. And that can look very different depending on where schools are at in the MGN journey. While you're going to hear from schools that are deeply engaged in the partnership today, we also wanted to highlight what this work can look like when schools are just getting started, hence cohort 4. A key component to our work is giving educators the time and the space to grapple with student experience data, adolescent development research, and reflective practices. Those experiences often lead to powerful takeaways and meaningful mindset shifts. As you read through some of the key takeaways from our last network session with cohort 4, what really stands out to you? Love to see a couple folks drop whichever quote stands out to them in the chat. And I'll give folks think time. I know how to do that. Thank you, Ritson, for starting us out. Thank you. Thanks. Got Salcedo in the house. It is easier to digest when you're in a group of people for sure. Love to hear maybe from a couple more people. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, very much so. Hearing each other's ideas, not taking it personally. And Rachel, I want to come back to this, the one that you pointed out really quickly. I want to point folks' direction to that last quote at the bottom of the page, the one in the blue font, about how can we incorporate more student voice into the everyday classroom experience. Student voice is a key component to moving this work forward. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to take a look at our student fellowship and how that's really impacted educator mindsets, leadership growth, and strong student-adult partnerships. Thank you all so much for giving that love in the chat. I appreciate that. So the Student Fellowship Reflection and Impact, this is a beautiful program that we have. I'm so excited to share a lot of that today. You can go on to the next slide. Yep, it's a transition. Thank you so much. So this work cannot be done without direct feedback from students. Throughout the fellowship experience, students work alongside their teachers to identify change ideas and reflect on what is and is not working. Teachers receive student experience data and in partnership with students make sense of findings and implement shifts in response to that feedback. So cohort 4, they're in year 0 right now. Cohort 2, they're in year 2. We're going to focus now on cohort 3, but just wanted to kind of give folks some context about where they're at in their MGN journeys. I really want you all to take a look at what this looks like in practice. Next slide. So sorry. So this is a quick overview of the MGN Fellowship, just to give a little bit more context as well. Like we said, a key area is student voice. The Student Fellowship includes 2 to 4 middle grade students from each cohort 3 school. With a focus on non-traditional leaders, it creates space for schools to incorporate student feedback and to how to make their middle school classroom experience better. Our student fellows from cohort 3 just graduated. Some of our goals during those fellowship sessions were to connect with other middle grade students, develop their leadership skills, analyze data, and of course, have fun. So what does this look like in practice? I feel like a lot of people will often ask, so what exactly is a fellowship? What is it doing? How is it impacting? How is it shifting? And I usually often answer in this way. Student voice can be interpreted in so many different ways. The purpose of the fellowship is to build that alignment between students and adults around shared experience and perspectives. Oftentimes, middle grade students are saying one thing, adults are saying the other, and so much is lost in communication. Over the past 2 years, the MGN Student Fellows have participated alongside educators in a range of activities that have supported that goal. This has led to growth as student leaders, which has been instrumental in shifting educator mindsets around sharing power and meaningfully engaging students in conversations about their experiences. Educators have shared that the fellowship has been a valuable vehicle supporting the growth and development of both students and adults alike. So you'll see here on the 2 sides, on the right and left side, these were those main areas of growth: data literacy, taking risks. And we want to show you what that looks like actually in action today, in practice. and how the fellowship was kind of supporting that. Specifically around partnership building with adults, that is so key during the middle grades. It's really trying to figure out how to build those two together. Taking initiative. This is one of my favorite slides, specifically because of this quote in the middle right here, because it's such a purpose of the fellowship. And it's such an important skill. Take a look. This is how students plan to use their voices in their classrooms, in schools next year. I especially want to highlight this quote in the middle from an 8th grade student from Salcedo, because this is the work, right? Letting others know that no matter how low their voice is, they'll still be heard. I think, supporting students who are non-traditional leaders and really providing them a space to be able to share out has been a very powerful space. Often those who are the quietest in the room, they might not be taking initiative, but it's because sometimes they're just, how do they do it, right? It might just look different. So when you're kind of going through some of these, when you're seeing a little bit more of the feedback from the students, continue to kind of think about, how might you have taken initiative during your times in the middle grades? How about the students you work with as well? Something that is so key in this work is partnership building between students and adults. We've been able to see something beautiful over the past 3 years of the fellowship. And it's become this in-depth partnership building that the fellowship creates, both for students and educators. That's directly impacted the shifts in mindset in the educators that we partner with. I can't express to you how many conversations I've had with educators that really express that being able to see their students in this, leadership role, sharing back feedback about their experience and how powerful it is for their mindset shifts. And that's the work, y'all. Like, it really is bringing together these two groups of people to help improve not only the middle grades experience, but the educator experience as well. Students building agency, empowering for their kids. They start to feel more comfortable in their own skin. That is so powerful for educators to see. So it starts sometimes with just a conversation, right? Sometimes it starts with, hey, this is something you said or did. How can I learn more about it? So it really has been really great to see how this has been impactful for both educators and students. Again, some additional feedback about, how mindsets have shifted. It's shifted greatly. Students have gained a skill set to advocate for themselves. That is something that's going to follow them to high school, to post-secondary, along their own career paths. And then I really, this next quote right here, I really want to kind of focus on because it's going to lead us into our next portion. But obviously, data is a big part of the work here that we do at MGN. And so one of the educators said, when we are analyzing student data, specifically from surveys, we always have to be intentional. What data do you want to collect? How do you want to present it? You want to be on the right page. You can't do this so quickly. It can't be casual. And most importantly, you've got to do something about it, right? You've got to bring that data back to your students and continue to have those conversations so everyone can kind of understand what's happening in the classroom. And it's these small shifts, right? I think sometimes people are thinking it's this massive thing, right? Greeting their students, being excited to see them in the morning, excited about the special they're going to, and really, doing her best to kind of create this space of like, this data is mine, it's yours, it's all of ours together. And so I know in their breakout room, there'll be another video for you to see as well. So very excited, but enough about me and all these different things. We are so excited about the stars of the show today. I am so pumped to turn this over to our incredible educators. This work would not be possible without each of you showing up and doing the work, leaning in, authentically engaging, and continuing to do the very best you can for your students. For that, we thank you. Your dedication, your passion, and commitment make seriously all the difference. And we are so grateful for the impact that you continue to have every single day. For the folks that are here, give me an MGN in the chat if you are ready to hear from our schools. We're really pumped for them. I'm so excited. Thank you, Ritz, and I love to see it. Yes, very pumped. Yes. Let's lead. I just want to shower them. So amazing. Oh, wow, I really set that up. But we have one more thing to go over before we get there, is we always want to bring it back to the research. We have used Search Institute as a foundation for the work of MGN from the beginning, because it really focuses on relationships and belonging. The Search Institute created the developmental relationships framework, which you see here, outlining the 5 elements of strong developmental relationships. Almost 2 years ago, when cohort 3 was just beginning the partnership, we asked a lot of our educators to identify with which element was the most challenging for them. As you might have guessed, share power was the most challenging for majority of them. However, what you're going to hear during the breakout room presentations is not only how power is being shared between educators and students, but also how students are increasingly being positioned as leaders, collaborators, and co-creators in their learning environments. Couple of key phrases to kind of look for. We've got a lot of acronyms when it comes to MGN. We obviously have Cultivate and Elevate, the research student-based experience survey that focuses on the 9 learning conditions. That's the data that's going to drive the work. It's the data they're continuing to come back to when it comes to their shifts in practice. We do have our learning conditions here that we're focusing on, and then a change idea or a practice shift, which is something that they've done. You're going to see a culmination of a lot of different things today. And so very excited for our schools to be able to show. Also, please note that a few schools might refer to year blank in their slides. That just means it's year 1 or year 2 of the partnership. We're really starting to look at some of the shifts from when they started the partnership to where they are now. Yes, and then the elementary on track kind of coordinates. We want to make sure that folks are on the same page as that. You might see places that say, increase in on track or decrease in intensive support. Same with academic support. On track is when students are coming to school more than 90% of the time and have a 3.0 or above. Academic support is when they're coming to school 90% or more of the time, but have below a 3.0. Intensive support is when they're coming to school 90% or less than 90% of the time and have below a 3.0. And attendance support is when they are coming to school less than 90% of the time, but have above a 3.0. A couple of schools will refer to their EOT categories during their presentation. Thank you. And as you can see, we sent out the breakout room descriptions prior to the session. We also dropped it in the chat. But this is just kind of an overview. We wanted to kind of have it feel like almost like a, conference type of energy of come see different things. You have some cool little hashtags there to give you a little idea of where to go, kind of help you, make your decision there. So this is for Bass, Budlong, and Chalmers. The next slide. And then this is for Northwest Meadow, Salcedo, and Warren. All of our schools have done beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work this year. I'm so proud to partner with them. I know Ashley and Miriam are as well. We've got Jen Choke on the call as well. I know she's been instrumental in a lot of our school's growth as well. So we are so, so excited to share that as well. I will make one note. One of our schools is not in attendance today. Yon Elementary, who I was able to do some work with them with their student fellowship. So just want to kind of make sure that they are also recognized as well. All right, so breakout room protocol. You're going to see one cohort 3 presentation. You're going to self-select. Each school is going to have about 30 minutes, about 20 minutes for presentation, and then 10 minutes for Q&A. And then please think about the following questions as you listen to the presentation. We're going to ask for some share outs when we get back. What is one takeaway that you have, and how does what you saw today impact how Chicago public schools should support middle grade students on a classroom, school, or systems level? That'll kind of tee up some of the very exciting news that we have from Ashley later. You're going to be brought back into the main room at the end of the presentation for a closing. We will share PDFs of the presentations in a follow-up email. It will not have the videos or the pictures of students, but just wanted to kind of name that you will get the PDFs. All right, who is ready? Okay, super pumped. Yay, MGN, we love our school so much. I'm so excited for them.
So I'm going to open the rooms in just a second. If you are stuck or can't figure out how to join the room, drop in the chat to Dom and he can move you over to the correct room. Opening now.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Gotcha,
You
Jen.
could put me in either Budlong or Northwest. It doesn't matter to me, either one.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Yep, and just like Jen did, if you are like on your phone or something, feel free to voice over if you need us to move you, but you should have a little note to move into the room that you're inspired to join today.
Let's send Jen to Northwest.
Katie, I'm going to move you to Budlong because you're Budlong.
Maybe, I guess, you know.
Allison and Olivia, do you guys? Oh, we found it. You found it. It takes some time. I know our CPS friends are meets people, so this is different.
All right, I think I'm gonna just evenly distribute folks.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's go to Warren.
Chat so we can keep that engagement going. But either share one takeaway you have, or how is something that you saw today impacting what you think we want to see more of across the system for students at both the classroom, school, or district-wide. So give people a little moment to pause and think. I think I'm seeing a couple things start to show up in chat. You can also feel free to throw nice little shout outs for your schools in the chat too. Also welcomed.
Hey, Ashley, I would just say I really appreciated what Salcedo did. A lot they're doing a ton of really impressive things, but the way that they're kind of connecting the learning to careers in real life, I thought was really impressive, and I would love to see more middle schools doing that. And I want to learn more about that and where they want to see it go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, shout out to the Salcedo team, who I also have the pleasure of coaching, and you guys have absolutely crushed it this year, and continue to do really, really amazing things. Thank you.
Yeah, echoing Rachel on that, I was also in that group and I was struck by the real world relevance piece, but also that, and what Naomi kind of pointed to earlier, in the trickle down effect of even watching educators model receiving feedback or data that's pointing to areas of growth. I'm immediately struck by like how students being able to witness and experience that throughout the process then also impacts them in these implicit ways, not just the explicit ways that we're highlighting. And so that's been sticking in my head as well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Shireen. We had a little bit of a conversation about that implicit versus explicit in the Chalmers room too. And I think that's a really important piece. Like you can both see it and like have it happen kind of in subtle ways, but you also have to be really explicit about some of those changes you're trying to make as well for students to find those connections. I'd love to get one, at least one person coming off mute to share a little bit around our second question, in terms of like something you saw that you think should impact how we support middle grade students at the district, and that can be at a classroom, school, or systems level. And keep the shout outs in the chat rolling in. I love it. Go ahead, Miss Turner.
What?
Anything you want to share about like something you saw today that we should think about, you know, maybe spreading across the district, or something you've seen that you want to make sure is kind of true for middle school students across CPS? Totally okay.
I wanted to say that I attended the Northwest Middle School breakout room, and one thing that I was thinking about as a school leader is sometimes we're always telling teachers like stick to the curriculum, stick to the curriculum. but they said something very important, like even the question of the day and how they were able to take questions from Skyline curriculum and kind of formulate those same questions on that to be more for the students. So I think, as a leader, allowing teachers to do that and telling them it's okay. Like, because I think sometimes they're hearing, especially in my building, we're such a big building, they're hearing different things from different administrators, like stick to your curriculum, like don't, like drive away from it. But then also knowing that we have to, provide teachers with that support of like, yes, it's your classroom, your students. So then you are not moving away from the curriculum, you're making it richer for the students that you're serving. I hope I make sense, but I think that's what I got a lot from like Northwest Middle School.
Yes, no, thank you, AP Galan. I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, I think Naomi also mentioned this earlier. Like, I think a lot of the work we do in MGN is obviously about the students, right? That's who all of this work is for, right? That's what we're all dedicated to in our daily work. But I think that flexibility and that teacher autonomy is equally important. And I think part of what really comes out in MGN spaces and something that also came up in our group was like just this space to talk to other teachers and learn how they're implementing different parts of the curriculum and how are they making those connections to the real world for young people. That's all really important. And how do we create spaces for educators and give them the space to do that so that they can really continue to help their students and young people thrive. So thank you for sharing that. This is amazing and absolutely beautiful. I'm just saying out loud to our team, we need to share this chat because there's so many good nuggets in here that I like can't read fast enough. But this is really exciting, and I'm just like so incredibly excited about all the takeaways folks are having. This is also an amazing kind of segue to kind of our close. And thank you guys again for the shout outs, the celebrations, and the reflections. But I think one of the things we wanted to kind of close out with was talking a little bit about like, how is this impacting the system? Which is kind of where that second reflection question came from. And one of the things that's really exciting is that the district has actually been embarking on developing a middle grade strategy. And this is a key priority that CPS put forth as part of its most recent strategic plan, Together We Rise. And To&Through and our friends at SuccessBound specifically have been supporting the district in helping to figure out how does this come to life and what can we do and what have we learned in our respective work and organizations that we can help kind of build upon, right? Because I think so much of what is critical is that there's a lot of good work, as you all can see today, that is already happening. We already have dedicated educators doing thoughtful, deep work about how to change the middle grades experience for the better. So our job, right, is to figure out how we build on that, right? And that's what this, I think, strategy is all about. Next slide, please. And what they've done is they've developed a working group to really start to dig into this and figure out how can we understand the research, best practices, bright spots like we saw here today, and how can we conduct kind of deep engagement across all stakeholder groups to really start to codify what we know is working and develop like a comprehensive framework for what middle grade success should look like across the district. And the goal is that what started about a year ago now and it continues to work, will continue into the next school year, is to build out these 4 deliverables you see here, a landscape scan. What are those core conditions for middle grade success? How do we help schools understand where they are related to those core conditions and help them understand like how do they customizably implement a plan that works for them? Because every school is different. Every school community has different needs. And I think like AP Galan mentioned, like teachers need that flexibility, schools need that flexibility to implement what's going to work in those different contexts. So this summer, the working group is kind of moving towards really refining what that strategy could look like and working through those deliverables. We're in the midst of a lot of initial engagement right now, which is really exciting. For example, the working group has already interviewed 130 students across 10 schools this spring. Right now, we're talking to counselors and teachers to understand their perspective on what's needed to make middle school thrive and be successful from their perspective and for their students. We're also looking for bright spots and examples like you saw today to really understand deeply those practices and build out case studies of what's working and how we can build on that so other schools can have that same success. So it's a really exciting time because this is one of the first times the district has like really doubled down on this. And I think given kind of the world we live in, the importance of ensuring young people are building those foundational skills in middle school is really key, and we're excited to be able to support that deeply important work. Next slide. So, with that in mind, really want to just thank everyone for coming today, but want to do a couple kind of quick calls to action. So first, everybody put amazing things in the chat. We had some great share outs. We want to continue to spread this work. Like I said, there's good work already happening and we want more people to know about it. So if you learned something great today, share it with a friend or colleague who you know would appreciate this. Put it on social media, shout out our amazing schools, and also just continue to advocate for the importance of the middle grades. This is a time period that is so critically important developmentally and really foundational for what young people will become in their lives. And if we don't take up and, advocate for what they need and what's going to be best for them at this time, we'll miss a really critical opportunity to do so. So please, please do that. Second, we have a ton of resources on our website where you can learn a little bit more about current and past schools, our improvement stories, our middle grades resources. You can see some of the things that we've developed over the years from our schools and partners. And then I think I'm missing my last
Sorry,
bullet.
Ashley, coming back.
Oh, no, you're all good. Thank you. And yes, if you'd like to connect directly with the school, please reach out to us at toandthrough@uchicago.edu. We would love to connect you to our brilliant schools to learn more and to understand what they're going through and how they're doing this great work right now. And then the last one I'm going to turn to Naomi to share a bit about before we do one final update on some other To and Through events.
I was muted. I'm going to drop it in the chat, but this is just an opportunity for teachers or educators in the building who would like to support some of their students in their classroom spaces. It's a space for Black girls to connect, read, explore Black literature, and community. I'll drop that link if you're interested, but I figured this would be a good space to kind of, see if there's anybody who would like to do that.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi.
No problem.
And then last but not least, a couple additional To and Through events that are coming up. We have our May Data Collab, which will feature our wonderful partners at Shy Rise. So please join us for that on May 19th at 2 p.m. We're also really excited to do an in-person Data Collab celebration in June to kind of mark the end of the school year. It'll be at Guild Row. It'll be a ton of fun. We can't wait to get everybody off the screens and in real life with us because we love to mix and mingle and partner with folks in chat. So please RSVP for that. And then we'll also have events for next year coming out in August. So hoping everybody has a great summer and gets a little time to rest and recuperate, but we will be back in full speed ahead in August with lots of new opportunities to engage with Middle Grades Network and all the amazing work of the To and Through team from middle grades to post-secondary success. Any final announcements from anyone in the audience that they would like to share before we officially close out? We always like to leave some time for that. All right. Well, with that, I just want to say a huge, huge thank you to all of you for being here today. Another shout out to all of our schools in cohort 3 for presenting and sharing your brilliance with us. You guys are truly doing remarkable, remarkable work, and it is a deep honor and pleasure to partner with all of you every day. You continue to inspire us, and I think everyone who joined today, I'm sure you have also inspired them to think more deeply about how can you partner with students and really think differently about what the middle grades experience can be so that our young people can thrive. Thank you all so much for being here and wishing everyone a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you, everyone.